Welcome to Strange Travels. I'm Lauren, and that's Clint, and we're from Nashville. We love to travel, whether it's a day trip or to another country. We love seeking out new experiences, hiking with our dog Lilly, and finding amazing food along the way. We hope this channel helps you plan your next adventure and encourages you to capture new memories. In today's video, we visit the French Quarter of New Orleans to take you on our own customized food tour. We start with our favorite oysters, try crawfish for the first time, eat a delicious po' boy, and save room for beignets and bananas Foster. Here we go!
We are here in New Orleans and we have created our own food tour to showcase some of the best food the French Quarter has to offer.
We hope you're hungry! Our first stop is Drago's, located inside the Hilton New Orleans. While Drago's doesn't take reservations, we got really lucky and snagged a seat at the Oyster Bar and watched them make their famous char-grilled oysters. I'm so excited. We ordered boudin balls, which is made with pork and sausage fried to perfection.
Boudin balls would be considered more of a Cajun style recipe rather than New Orleans Creole style, but we couldn't resist.
It's really good.
And if you're wondering if we would recommend them or if we would get them again, yes.
We then both ordered a dozen of their famous char-grilled oysters, which they call the single best bite of food in town.
It's true.
We could watch them make these oysters all day, but the best part is when they drown them in butter. She's gonna get some bread too. Wow. They're even better than I remember. One of the best things about Drago's is they give you all this plate of bread. And that's because you take it and you sop up all the butter. It's genius. Our next stop is French Truck Coffee to try their New Orleans iced coffee with chicory and milk. French Truck Coffee has multiple locations, including one in the French Quarter. Chicory coffee is made from minced and roasted chicory root.
So if you want to try New Orleans coffee and chicory, but you don't have time to wait in line at Café Du Monde, or it's a hot day and you really just want a cold beverage to wake you up in the morning, French Truck Coffee has a iced coffee and chicory that you can tell I didn't really like that much.
Resembling coffee, chicory can be roasted, grounded, and brewed while maintaining a bitter but woody and nutty coffee-like taste. This coffee alternative became popular in New Orleans during the Civil War when there was a coffee shortage due to blockaded ports.
Hermes Bar is located inside Antoine's restaurant, the birthplace of Oysters Rockefeller. Antoine's opened its doors in 1840, making it the oldest restaurant in New Orleans.
Oysters Rockefeller was invented in 1889 and uses a rich sauce of butter, parsley, and green herbs or spinach to achieve its signature green color. The dish was named after John D. Rockefeller, the wealthiest American at the time, for its extreme richness. We also tried Oysters Bienville, which is made with a creamy wine sauce or shrimp sauce. Oysters Bienville was actually invented at another restaurant in the New Orleans French Quarter, Arnaud's, which we will visit in our next video for a special drink that was invented in their bar.
So we came to Hermes Bar because they had something we had never tried before called Oysters Bienville. And what was awesome is our server actually suggested that we get kind of like a sampler because they have 3 different kinds. They have charbroiled, Oysters Bienville, and Oysters Rockefeller. So we got 2 of each, and Clint and I were kind of talking, and I think we both agree that Bienville is our favorite, but they're all good, and we highly recommend any of them. We can't come to New Orleans without a quick stop to buy a muffaletta. At the time of this video, Central Grocery is undergoing repairs, but the good news is you can still purchase a sandwich right next door at Sydney's Wine Cellar.
Central Grocery is a third-generation, old-fashioned grocery store founded in 1906 by Salvatore Lupo, a Sicilian immigrant who is famous for creating the muffaletta. This famous sandwich is made with ham, salami, mortadella, Swiss, and provolone cheese, all sliced in-house, and the family's Italian olive salad between slices of 9-inch round Sicilian sesame loaf bread. The name muffaletta actually means soft or spongy bread.
The muffalettas are so big, the half sandwich is literally as big as my face. Now it's time for something sweet. We came to Brennan's for their world-famous Bananas Foster. The good news is you can sit at the bar and just order dessert so you don't even need a reservation. Just mention it to the host and there's usually seats at the bar, especially if you go in the afternoon. Then they roll over a cart and prepare the whole dessert in front of you. It's such a cool experience that we highly recommend.
Immediately on high heat, you're going to melt what's at the bottom of the pan. Of course, you know it's butter, right? Make sure the entire pan is coated in butter. Then I'm going to break up what's on top of the butter. If you haven't get that part, that's brown sugar. But you will notice on top of the brown sugar, there's a darker spot there. That is a low touch of cinnamon.
Ooh.
Back in the day in the flambeing process, they would dash the cinnamon in there with the rum to give it sort of a spark. But they stopped doing that because it used to get caught in the vents, the air vents, and eventually it started to fight.
Oh my gosh.
Oh. Right, so as I break up the brown sugar and with the butter, it's going to get rather clumpy, but it will not break down completely. It's going to get moist, of course, from the sugar, from the butter. But I need the contents of the cup closest to me to help make it more into a sauce. This is banana liqueur. That's going to help me break up the sugar. It's going to provide also a base for the sauce. I'm going to use the fork here to make sure I get rid of all the lumps that might be left behind. Plus, I want to make sure none of this sugar sticks to the pan. So, having it as such, I'm going to throw in the bananas. And what I want to do at this point, I want to make sure I coat the bananas in the sauce. So I'm going to flip them a couple of times, you know. Then I'm going to take the pan and pull it towards myself a little and start scooping all the sauce down to one end. I want to free half the pan of sauce and have it dry. So I'm going to take all the sauce, scoot it down to the other half of the pan, and I want to keep the pan, the part of the pan that does not have the sauce over the flame. I want to get that part really, really hot. That's where your flambeing will be coming in. Now, if you want to add like a video like slow-mo or anything, this would be the time to do that. I'm counting it down from 3, 2, 1.
Ooh. Tell me they got that in slow motion.
1. flame for a few seconds there. Now I'm going to retrieve the bananas from the flame.
Oh my goodness.
You may not be able to see it, but it's actually still on fire.
Yeah.
Now, so having added the rum, there's a certain amount of astringency I've added to that because I want to impart the flavors of rum onto the dish, but I do not want to give that the astringency of the alcohol, so I need to cook that down. I got to make sure I don't burn the sugar, so I'm going to stir continuously. But the whole goal is to thicken the sauce. You're going to start smelling it more as it thickens. All right, at this point, we can call that where it needs to be. Now it's just a matter of administering the sauce.
We visited the French market where I tried raw oysters for the first time 3 years ago. They were so good we had to include it in the video. It's so fun watching them shuck oysters, and their cocktail sauce is unbelievable. The market is only open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., so this is a great lunch option, especially if you're wanting seafood. Clint and I both agreed we had to find a place to try crawfish because neither of us have had it. We stopped at a little dive bar called Three-Legged Dog, where we filled an entire to-go box full of crawfish, corn, potatoes, and more. We also recommend calling the bar in the morning to find out what time they're doing the boils so you don't miss it.
If you look up dive bar in the dictionary, there's going to be a picture of the three-legged dog there. It was $15 for a 2-pound box, $25 for a 4-pound box. As long as the lid closes, you're good to go. Alright, so you take the tail, twist, take that part, twist, crack, twist, that part. Well, first try not so good, but it's good.
That's all
And
that
then-
matters.
And then you're supposed to, apparently you're supposed to suck the head, so. I don't know if I did that right.
Yeah, we noticed early on.
So my consensus is that it's really good. I understand why why one person can eat like 5 pounds of crawfish. I didn't ever understand that until now, but it's really good. I highly recommend it if you like crab, lobster, any type of seafood. It's really good.
I don't know what comes in a standard crawfish broil, but at Three-Legged Dog, obviously crawfish, corn, potato, sausage.
We already
There's
ate all that.
Pineapple,
Garlic.
full cloves of garlic. It looks like this might have been an onion, and then this looks like a pepper, maybe a jalapeno. I don't know. So many spices. For being a rookie on crawfish, we're not really getting a lot of meat. I feel like a professional crawfish eater could get a lot more meat out of these than we probably are. I feel like we're kind of sloppy is probably the best word for how we are approaching our crawfish eating, but it's still good.
While there's plenty of places to get an iconic po' boy sandwich, we opted to go to Verti Marte, a small grocery and convenience store that has an extensive menu. It's open 24 hours, which is great after a late night on Bourbon Street.
Look at that grease.
It's really good. I don't even know what's on it, but it's good.
Okay, so we learned about Verti Marte from one of my best friends whose aunt used to live in New Orleans, and I can already tell this is my kind of po' boy. It is grilled ham, turkey, and shrimp with Swiss and American cheese with grilled mushrooms and tomatoes on grilled French bread, and it also is topped off with their wow sauce.
Wow.
Here we go. It is a greasy mess, but wow.
Wow.
So the name of the sandwich, and I believe it's their most popular, is called All That Jazz. But looking at the food, looking at the menu, I don't think you could go wrong with anything there. Wow.
Our second morning, we stopped at French Toast for breakfast. Located across from the French Market, French Toast is a great breakfast spot that has plenty of sweet and savory options. I decided to get the king cake French toast, which is stuffed with cinnamon cream cheese and topped with Mardi Gras sprinkles.
Sprinkles?
Clint went with toast that included fried oysters, corn mock chew, avocado, eggs, and sriracha mayo. We both also realized we'd never had fried oysters or corn mock chew, which were both amazing.
Mock chew is another Cajun recipe that traditionally contains corn, green bell peppers, onion, and sometimes garlic, celery, okra, and tomato. Mock is the Creole word for corn, and chew being the French word for cabbage.
We just got done eating at French Toast, which is a little breakfast cafe. It's actually not too far from Café Du Monde. It's a pretty small cafe, so one thing I will note is that you can actually join the wait list online. We didn't have an issue because we were there early enough, but after about 9 a.m. it gets pretty busy, so definitely check the wait list so you don't get there and it's a really long line.
Fried oysters. I don't think Lauren and I have ever had those. The breading was really light. It reminded me of the same breading and texture of a fried chicken liver. If you've ever had that, you know what I'm talking about. It was so good.
Our next stop is the Gumbo Shop. We still have a lot of food to try here in New Orleans, and here at the Gumbo Shop, whatever you want.
Jambalaya, gumbo, it's gonna have it all.
Jambalaya is a rice dish of French, African, and Spanish influence that can be either Cajun or Creole and consists mainly of meat, traditionally sausage such as andouille, along with pork or chicken and sometimes seafood such as crawfish or shrimp. Vegetables that typically contain the Creole holy trinity of onion, celery, and green bell pepper, all mixed with rice. Gumbo, on the other hand, is the official cuisine of the state of Louisiana and is a hearty stew consisting of a strongly flavored stock, meat or shellfish, a thickener, and the Creole holy trinity, onions, celery, and bell peppers, and it's traditionally served with rice.
Really good. Clint might not get any. Clint and I have been looking for some good gumbo, so I got the gumbo and he got the jambalaya. I really liked both, but I think the gumbo was my favorite.
If you do go to the Gumbo Shop and you get the jambalaya, highly recommend their garlic hot sauce. It's their mild hot sauce, but on that jambalaya,
Woo!
We couldn't come to New Orleans without a stop at Café Du Monde. When you think of New Orleans, you think of Café Du Monde, known for their iconic beignets. Before the pandemic, Café Du Monde was open 24 hours. Unfortunately, that's no longer the case, but if you don't want to wait in the long lines, we recommend coming later at night or just getting them to go because that line can be much shorter. And just a reminder, Café Du Monde only takes cash. It's so good. Been waiting all day for this.
that's gonna do it for our food tour of the French Quarter here in New Orleans.
No, what? Why?
We were able to do this whole food tour without reservations, but there are just 2 of us, so depending on the time of year or how many people you have, you might want to consider looking into reservations. And while we didn't get to do everything in the French Quarter, we know we missed places. If you have a favorite place, please let us know in the comments. We hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe below, and now you can also check out our brand new website where we will be sharing our travel guides and more. Make sure you also follow us on Instagram so you'll know when we post new travel guides.
Yeah, I created a website.